25 people gather in isolated scrubland on the southern Victorian coast. They transport components of metal and wood along miles of narrow winding track and down a hillside to the sea. On a lonely stretch of beach, they methodically assemble a frame of timber beams on which they string a fishing net. The frame is mounted with a three-cornered spire, bearing at its peak an electrical device. The people gather to await the fall of darkness and the rising of the sea, and to witness, at the appointed time, their creation strike forth with a blinding flash of light. To capture the essence of the natural world has long been the aim of the landscape photographer. Images of surpassing beauty, texture, power, and agelessness neatly encapsulated in a frame 12 inches square. But the camera by its very nature limits the photographer's access to the subject. It becomes a barrier separating nature from the artist, who observes but does not experience. It acts to focus the perspective to a single point, and dramatically reduces what was vast in reality. The subject's initial essence is lost. To preserve this essence has long been the goal of photographer Harry Nankin. From his role with the Environment Youth Group Inspect as a teenager, Nankin's passion for the environment has given direction to his work as an artist.
I'm trying to overcome the limitations of the landscape tradition in the visual arts, in broad terms, not just in photography, because it's predicated historically on a separation of humans from nature, of a sense of the environment as an object to be observed, appreciated, used. It's essentially a utilitarian view of the world, even in its romantic version, or its romantic expression. It's still, in a sense, utilitarian. It's all about what human beings can get out of it. Whether that's material, like coal or gold, or whether it's an aesthetic response, a sense of beauty. And I'm dissatisfied with that. That's, to me, part of the problem. And my interest is an ecological engagement, an ecocentric engagement with the world. And the shadowgram for me was one way of achieving that.
A shadowgram is generated by objects placed between a light source and a sheet of photographic paper. The result is a negative, a silhouette or translucent image of the object. It is the simplest form of photography. It is photography without a camera. Nankin takes this concept a step further by removing himself from the darkroom to apply the shadowgram technique directly upon nature. Under cover of darkness, Nankin captures the shadows of entire living trees on huge sheets of photographic paper. Thus the image loses none of the true scope and scale of its subject. But Nankin's drive to expand the boundaries of environmental expression led him to aim for the shadow of nature in motion. To achieve his ambition, Nankin assembles a team of colleagues and friends on an isolated beach at Bushrangers Bay. A 6x4 metre timber frame is constructed to contain the photographic paper, which is secured by a supporting net. A 5 metre high tripod suspends a flash unit above the frame. Once night has fallen, metres of paper are sewn into the netting. The team then submerge the construct beneath the surface of the sea. At the moment a wavefront passes over the paper, the flash is triggered, capturing the shadow of kelp, sand, and the wave itself. In the darkroom, the exposed print is developed sheet by sheet in troughs a metre wide. Displayed in a loft, the true scope and fine detail of the wave are revealed.
I chose the wave because it is an extraordinarily unpredictable, dynamic, vigorous environment that is a symbol for me of nature's power and beauty. It also represented the edge of the world, the terrestrial world, and the edge of the wilderness of the sea. And so, at a symbolic level, metaphorical level, it had enormous meaning. It resonates as a subject with meaning for human beings in general, not just for me as an artist, but for people in general. That is, the sea represents for most people something unknown, something dangerous, something threatening, but also something beautiful and something we visit as to escape, if you like, temporarily, the normal world.
The sheer scale of the project made it physically impossible for Nankin to complete on his own. He turned to a handful of friends and colleagues for help, but unexpectedly found the wave growing with a life of its own. Lecturers, students, environmentalists and artists, attracted by the originality and significance of the wave concept, volunteered their time, skills and support. Nankin now had over 20 assistants working together to make this concept a reality.
The reason I want people involved isn't simply practical, it's also because it is a communal ritual as I see it now. And this ritualistic content becomes apparent to anybody who takes part in it, because it is a organised, sequential process with a particular direction and a particular cooperative content, with a goal which is essentially unseen. It's a kind of act of faith by everybody, including me, which is almost religious in quality. And it's something which I imagined might happen, but I was really very, very gratified when I found it did happen on both occasions.
After 2 preliminary trials, the faith of those touched by the project continues to grow. Having tested and refined his techniques, Nankin is ready to produce a third wave, one he hopes will communicate a fundamental but neglected aspect of nature to its human audience.
The first thing I would hope that they see is that this is a work created by nature, but in partnership with an artist. So in a sense, they understand that it's a kind of earth or land art. It's a gesture by both an artist and by nature together. And where one begins and the other ends is actually impossible to tell.